We'll call the May meeting of the Public Safety Committee to order. The first order of business, approval of last month's minutes. Motion to approve last month's minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, privilege of the floor. Is there anybody here for privilege of the floor? Okay, one more time. Anybody here for privilege of the floor? Okay, if not, we'll start with proposed resolution number 1, emergency services 2024 budget adjustments. Good afternoon, Noel.
Afternoon. Noel Gutman, Director of Emergency Services. Very simple request to just transfer some money from the .4 account to .2 to cover some additional expenses on that one device, on the CRD device that was purchased, to cover some additional training and data plans and some additional upgrades to it to make it more versatile.
Committee questions?
Are these the new message boards that we got?
No, this was actually going to be, this is more particularly for the CRD device, the cell tower. So the message boards are in service and now been used. Everything's been used. It's just to update the maintenance, the data plans, and some additional supplies to make it a little more versatile.
Good. That was the one purchased for the solar eclipse.
Correct. So, not asking for anything additional, just transfer from 4s to 2s.
So it's budget neutral, it's just moving some money?
Correct.
Okay, committee, anything else? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thanks, Noel.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have proposed resolution number 2, authorize acceptance of New York State Indigent Legal Services second statewide expansion of the Harrell Herring Grant for the period April 1st, 2024 to March 31st, 2027. We've got everybody today.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Just for the record, with me today is Candace Peterson. Candace is our grant specialist in the Public Defender Office. Candace is responsible for and one of the primary individuals responsible for not only securing the ILS grant funds, Indigent Legal Services, but in addition, Candace follows through with different expenses and checking in on things. So she's instrumental. And Derek Gregory, one of our assistant PDs, and Derek also is heavily involved with the ILS grants and some other accounting things within the office. And we have one other individual that's responsible for the grants and what we obtain, what we submit, and that's Heather Belli. Heather's not with us today. She's back in the office. But they're the 3 primary individuals, for those of you that don't know them, that really have gotten our ILS grant reimbursement ship on the right course and doing well. The first thing I'd like to just indicate is that up to this point, we are now current with all our vouchers, all our reimbursements, and have been for over the last year approximately. The process is that every quarter we gather and submit to Indigent Legal Services the expenses that we're looking for reimbursement back to the county. Those are then sent to ILS along for review. They in turn send them back, discuss any issues they have with us. So there is approximately a 30 to 60 day lag from submission to payment. And I just wanted the committee to be aware of that.
Thanks, Ned.
Sure. And again, the thing I think I'm most proud of, and Pierre can attest to this because Pierre was instrumental a couple years ago when we were trying to take care of this issue. He was heavily involved, and that's one of the most comforting things we have, because these grants, as you can see, are substantial. And the grant that we have in front of us right now is substantial as well. And it's over 15 million. So that's a huge transformation for our office and for the total cost to the county. So that we're doing very well on.
And the first grant was for the same amount, correct? But it
Yes.
was for 5 years instead of 3.
That's correct. So we actually got more money. And the first grant, Terry, was for a 5-year period, as you indicated, and the total amount of the grant was $15,539,474.61. That was over a 5-year term. That expired last year, actually. That was a Harrell grant. We got the extension, which was given to each indigent provider in New York State. ILS ran it for an additional year. And so that was extended to every office throughout the state. We got the same thing. And now the grant in front of you is for a 3-year period. And the grant actually is for the $15,989,474. So it's actually for quite a bit more than the first grant. And again, that's based on a number of different factors taken into consideration. And with these grants, just so you know, it's a large part of it is due to the data gathering and what's obtained and isn't obtained from our providers. Excuse me. My phone as well. So the caseloads just keep going up. Our personnel and support staff have increased tremendously. As a matter of fact, our first distribution from ILS, I had Candace and Heather take a look, was back, our first payment was June 1st of 2013, and it wasn't part of the Harrell. It was a simple, straightforward grant for $269,000. That was the first monies that started with us from ILS, or Indigent Legal Services. And at the time, we had, I believe it was 4 attorneys part-time, all of us in the PD office, 2 attorneys in family court, and a support staff of 4 people. Now we're up close to 70 people. And that's the number of jobs. The ILS grant, I still stress, and I understand the bottom line is getting the grants in on a timely basis, but it's been transformational to our ability to represent anyone that needs our help in this county. And that's been huge. It's been huge. And so the monies that you see, Derek has put together the ILS budget. A big deal of that goes to Derek and what he's been able to accomplish with ILS. And the other thing is, we're on the phone every day, or at least Derek is, or Candace, or Heather, with Indigent Legal Services. They now have a presence. They have an actual office in Western New York, several different attorneys that are stationed in Western New York. We have regional offices for ILS, so it's become a huge presence. And like anything else, we've got daily involvement with ILS, and that's paid off as well because of the support that we have in everything we do, not just with the grants, but with our actual practice for our clients. So we're looking for the legislature to approve this 3-year grant once again. And I think, quite frankly, I'll sum it up by saying I think that the monies that ILS have been comfortable in granting us, and with what we've been able to demonstrate to Indigent Legal Services and what our office provides to this county, I'm extremely proud of what we've been able to do since the inception back in 2013 and how far we've come and what we've been able to provide to the county beyond the jobs that we've been able to provide. It's the level of representation for the indigent in this county, for our residents, for our community, is unparalleled. It truly is. So we're asking you to take into consideration, again, the grant that we've got in front of us. Thanks.
Thank you, Ned. Committee questions of Ned, Derek, or Candace? Marty?
So for this year, was this money expected, is it reflected in this year's budget, or is this a bonus, since it's,
No,
seems
this,
to be more than,
you mean our local budget?
yeah,
We anticipated the budgets run different throughout the year, the local budget and the state budget.
Different fiscal years.
Different fiscal years. So we anticipated these monies in our local budget. We had some idea, again, because of the extension we got from last year. ILS extended our Harrell monies over for 1 year. So we had a pretty good idea of where we were going to. And really, the bottom line is the caseloads, what we're looking at and what we have to do to represent our clients and the support staff and what goes into it. So, yeah, we had a good idea, and that was taken into consideration when we worked with the county on the local budget as well. And again, I think if you go back, Marty, if you go back to the local budget, let's say 10 years ago, or even when I started longer than that, you'd find that the local budget has the percentage of increase really is next to nothing when you consider our caseload increase. Just so you know, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, our office represents over 10,000 criminal cases per year. That doesn't even include our family court division. And that's over 2,500 cases a year. So the caseloads, and I was just told by the judges in Jamestown City Court has the highest caseload of any city court in the 4th department. That's Monroe County, that's Genesee, all the counties, Allegheny in western New York, with the exception of Buffalo City Court. That's amazing when you think about it. So, so that was taken in consideration, and we take a look at the numbers and try to get some handle. That's what Derek works on a lot, and Candace. They're constantly juggling a lot of these numbers around, and again, that requires us to be in constant contact with ILS, who kind of, will help us work through these things and see. And they have suggestions all the time about maybe where to increase certain areas of the budget.
but, yeah. And
Okay.
that's like follow-up,
Yes,
are
Mark.
you planning on hiring additional personnel? I see there's salary increases for several different.
Yeah, we're still short. We're short with the number of attorneys that ILS is requesting that we hire. They want us to be at 34 attorneys in our criminal division. We're currently at 18. We're at 18 attorneys. We're short, and that's based on the caseload numbers, because the state has determined in their great province that in order to effectively represent individuals, you can only be handling so many cases. So they take and assign so many cases to one attorney, depending on whether it's a felony or misdemeanor.
Sure. I just see there's salary increases here as well.
Yeah, there's still salary increases, and yeah, that's something that we've dealt with actually at the county level with personnel, with trying to not only retain attorneys to come and work here, but it's to keep our attorneys in our office as well.
Okay, Tom, you had a question?
Yeah, well, I guess my question is, so the grant is to pay for defense counsel from arraignment to, do you represent the individual, through the whole process? And
Yes.
And we're doing that with 18 attorneys? We're doing
Yes.
that with only 18 attorneys? That's
Yes. Yeah, the,
Pretty incredible. Yeah.
yeah, the one thing that we're required to do by New York State is the Public Defender's Office, anytime there's a new program that comes out, they usually volunteer each public defender office throughout the state to take care of whatever it is. That's referred to as counsel at first appearance. When someone's arrested and they're brought into the jail perhaps for an arraignment, it's our office that's responsible to appear 24/7. So we have to assign certain attorneys. All of us rotate in and out, and that's not just in the jail. That's in Jamestown City Court, and that's in Dunkirk City Court. So we make the appearances because the state considers that one of the most important appearances is the first appearance. So we appear at them with arraignment, and if they're financially eligible, then we follow through with the complete representation, and if there are no conflicts. But again, that depends if they're eligible, which most residents are eligible. It's not based on the old standards, how much you make. There's a number of factors now we have to look at.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, committee, anything else?
I got one question.
Yeah,
Phil.
Phil.
Is there a problem getting up to staff on what the state wants? Or what is the problem?
The problem is, at least with the attorneys, is the number of attorneys available. We're not getting the same amount of attorneys being put out of the law schools as we were years ago because of the cost of law school. The cost has increased tremendously, so you don't find as many candidates. But more importantly, getting people coming to certain counties, more rural counties, is a little more difficult. If we were in Erie County, Monroe County, even Onondaga where Syracuse is, or downstate, the recruitment pool is much higher, and the diversity. But here in Western New York, although quite frankly I'm pretty pleased with where we are, and I'm in discussions right now with an experienced attorney, I anticipate having 2 more attorneys hired on before the end of June. So that would put us up to 20, which is substantial. And I have 4, that's our max in family court. I've got 4 full-time attorneys in family court. So we have a total of 22 attorneys, and we should have 24 by the end of June. But yeah, that's a statewide problem. That's something that we discuss at every chief defender meeting, and we are addressing that with the county. We're addressing it with personnel, who has been a tremendous help to us. We're going to different job recruitments. There's a whole other way we're trying to address that, and we're starting to see some improvement. Not to mention, Derek was able to secure a couple of law school interns, 2nd and 3rd year, that come and work here for that the legislature was kind enough to pass for a fee, for wages. And that secures them into potentially staying on after law school graduation. So, and we're trying to get the people that are from here, but anyone, really.
Okay, committee, anything else? Ned, I just had a couple of quick things.
Sure.
One, this is a grant 100% funded by the state.
Yes.
Okay, and look, I think you guys have done an excellent job of utilizing these funds, but if this grant ever goes away, okay, then we're gonna have to make some tough choices here.
Yeah, that's, I think, something that, as a matter of fact, Pierre, I mentioned your name quite a bit. That was one of the questions Pierre asked ILS early on. Look at, this whole Harrell program was meant to do one thing: enhance our services. It was never meant to replace what the Chautauqua County Public Defender's Office does for the county. But it's meant to enhance, to bring the county up so that it's effective in its representation. Now, one of the things Pierre asked is, well, look if the state decides at some point not to, and we're good for another 3 years,
Right.
but if they do something, are we responsible to continue the positions and the programs and everything else? They said absolutely not. And so, yeah, tough decisions will have to be made, but that's something I'm confident the county will be able to do. And certainly, that's something who's ever in the public defender office, I would hope would sit down with the county and take a good look at. Because again, you hear this from me all the time. I know for many of you, and I respect it and appreciate it, it's the bottom line. For me, a lot of times it's about what we do for our residents. It's about providing the constitutional rights each one of us is entitled to. And we're not going to get it without these funds. It's not going to be done unless something else we come up with something else. And yeah, we'll have to, I guess tough decisions will have to be made. And certainly it's something that, we should be prepared to do at some point, but
Understood.
and I understand where you're, and yeah, things will have to be done differently. And maybe that's where it's going, is some type of regionalization at some point. Other states do that. I've talked about that before, like Maryland. They have regions. They have one PD, state PD. Everywhere else is a region. And, we're doing that now. We're working with, Erie County. We're working with the southern tier. Allegheny, Cat County, Steuben County I've been working with. So it's, Genesee, I'm very close with the PD in Genesee County, and, they're great to work with, and we're all trying to pull from each other, and maybe that's where it ends up.
Okay. In the last thing, Ned, as far as the reimbursement, I'm very happy to hear that we're current. We did have some growing pains initially. We lagged behind quite a bit at one point. But I think the fact that we're current as of the end of last year, and we're ready to submit for this first quarter. We've got a few more bills or whatever outstanding, I guess. But I think that's a tribute to you, to Derek, to Candace, and to Heather. So thank you guys for being current with our reimbursement. It does help with the county cash flow.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. So, okay. I guess with that, we'll call for a vote on this resolution. Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, next we have proposed resolution number 3, authorize the execution of New York State Office of Homeland Security funding, grant explosive detection K-9 team for fiscal year 2021.
Good afternoon, Mr. Nebel. Rich Telford, Chautauqua County Undersheriff.
Are they on the fiscal supervisor?
We have a resolution in front of you to accept a state grant. Unfortunately, doesn't have as many zeros as Mr. Barone's, but we are still happy with it.
Not even close.
Not even close. This is a recurring grant that we have received from New York State Office of Homeland Security for explosive detection K-9. It is funding year 21, but as the state, each year they kind of get a little bit further behind the curve. Bottom line is it's a grant in the amount of $15,000, and it covers April 1st through August 31st, 2024. This was included in our 24 budget, so there is no amendment that is needed.
August 31st, 24.
2025.
I'm sorry, Tony.
Sorry.
Okay, committee questions on this one?
canine, so I assume it's bomb sniffing dogs? Is there
Yes.
more than one dog, or
We are up to 4.
Okay.
2 that are, if I'm not mistaken, 2 that are human tracking and explosives, and 2 that are human tracking and narcotics.
Is the money mostly for the training of the dogs?
This particular one, although it's only $15,000,
Yeah.
personnel and fringe, travel and equipment, so travel could cover training out of the area, any equipment that's needed. So it kind of covers a few, this one gives us a little bit of leeway.
Okay, committee,
Yeah, I got a question.
Yeah,
Does that
Phil?
include additional dogs, or that you already have 4 in the house?
We already have 4 in-house and cover their activities, their
Okay, so
handlers.
it's not no additional?
Correct. No additional purchase, no.
okay, folks, anything else? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay.
Next resolution in front of you, again, funding year 2021 in the amount of $75,000 through Homeland Security for our bomb squad team.
Yeah, Rich, I'm just going.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm going to read the resolution. Okay.
Gotcha.
You're a little ahead of us. Number 4, proposed resolution authorize execution of New York State Office of Homeland Security funding grant bomb squad initiative for fiscal year 2021. Please, go ahead.
Now, funding year 2021, $75,000 from Homeland Security for our bomb squad or bomb team. This particular amount was included in our 2024 budget, so there is no amendment needed. Grant is allocated for equipment, so this is upgrades or keeping up on any different equipment, whether it's bomb suits. I honestly, I don't know what is on the horizon that they're looking to purchase. A lot of times it is, the bomb suits, the bomb helmets. But this particular funding year is allocated for equipment for our bomb team.
And it's for 75,000, no local share.
Correct.
Okay, committee questions on this one? Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, let's see. These are all about the same. Number 5, proposed resolution authorize execution of New York State Office of Homeland Security funding grant bomb squad initiative for fiscal year 2022.
Basically the same grant from the previous one, but this is the funding year 2022 through New York State for our bomb squad initiative. This grant was not included in our 2024 budget, so there will have to be a budget adjustment. Same amount of money, $75,000. Similar to the K-9, we have some allocated to personnel, benefits, equipment, and other contractuals for the bomb team. So this one, again, whether it's training, oftentimes they'll go to like a Riskin in New York for a bomb training. That will be covered or can be covered by this grant.
So, guys, it's just an increase in some of the appropriation accounts with a corresponding increase in revenue account.
Correct.
Okay. Committee, questions on this one? Nothing? Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. All right, you guys are almost done. Number 6, proposed resolution authorize agreement with various school districts for school resource officer services for 2024 to 2025.
So this resolution are proposed contracts with 7 different schools for the school year or the year what the contract run is July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. No change in what schools we currently have now. As you can see, we have standardized the cost for every school. They're all on the same level playing field. If memory serves me, it's about an 8 or 9% increase over the current year. But that had to do with contractual agreements, increase in speculation of increase in health insurance, retirement, all those fun deductions from your paycheck.
Gasoline, insurance, the whole bit.
Correct.
Did we have more schools last year than this year?
He said no change.
No, actually, we started with one less, and we added Panama a little bit later.
Okay. I remember there being a change somewhere last year.
Okay. Yep.
There are more schools wanting,
The
Clymer.
the one that I am aware of, Clymer has inquired. The sheriff has been in talks with their board. I don't see anything on the immediate horizon, but they are the one school that has inquired about adding an SRO.
It's just getting the person, the SRO.
On our end, getting the person and on their end, the funding and, we're trying to get ahead of the curve so they have it for their budget votes that are coming up soon.
I thought there was a couple more schools that inquired or wanted, and we just didn't have the people to fill them.
Knock on wood, as we speak today, we're in a good position. We found a couple good volunteers for Panama. The deputy working down there, they're very happy with. Again, I think if Clymer or any other school is full bore, we might find ourselves in that same situation of, do we have the right candidate?
Okay, committee, any other questions on this resolution? Rich, I'll just mention, this did come up last year, I think, with the sheriff, because not every deputy is cut out to be a resource officer. Is that correct?
That's a fair statement, yes.
Okay, because we take volunteers. Somebody volunteers for the position?
Yes,
You don't assign them?
correct.
Okay.
We feel that is very important, that if anytime we're,
I agree.
human nature, anytime we're told we have to do something that we don't have an interest in, they're not going to put their heart into it. They're not going to put their best foot forward. So we're very leery of, now, we may have a persuasive conversation with a deputy and see if we can sway them.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we look for volunteers. Ultimately, we look for somebody at least off of probation, which is 18 months on the job. And we do look at personnel history and, if it's somebody that we just don't,
Yeah.
Last time I talked to them, they said they don't like kids, but now they want to be an SRO. That's going to be a red flag to us.
Exactly. Some people are cut out to be SRO officers. And Bankowski would be. Me not so much, but Bankowski, he could be.
So yeah, we try to avoid the directive, and like I said, we may have a little persuasive lunch with a deputy and go, hey,
Not-
these are the benefits.
Okay. Not too much, though.
Not too much, right.
Okay. All right, committee, any further questions on this one?
Just a comment. Good to see you back.
Absolutely.
It is great to be back, and I appreciate that.
And
I
we
really
wish
do.
you well,
Thank
too.
you, thank you. I've been blessed. Thank you.
Okay, committee, anything else on this one? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, thanks, guys.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay, is there anything else to come before public safety? Anybody want to bring anything up under other? Not seeing anything, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? We're adjourned. Thanks, folks.
So Olivia, did anybody on this committee notice the new shades on the windows?
I did.
I did.
We noticed them Monday. Yeah,
You told me we were getting curtains.
it's quite the, nice.
Nice.
New blinds, we
Did you
got
pick them out? or-
No, I had nothing to do with picking out.
I wasn't either, yeah.
a.